This podcast contains discussion around depression and suicide. If you're experiencing feelings of sadness, depression, or thoughts of self-harm, stop and seek help now. There is someone waiting to talk to you right now on Lifeline's crisis hotline, 13 11 14, or call 000.
This podcast may also contain unintentional coarse language and political incorrectness.
Welcome to episode 10 of You Wouldn't Be Dead for Quids. This is the Augathella Fella podcast. It's a no BS discussion on what life throws at you and how to deal with it. I'm Ruth and I'm here with the fella from Augathella himself, Graham Cotter. So Graham, how you doing?
Wouldn't be dead for Quids, Ruth.
Well, I have to admit, this is our second episode 10. We recorded our first episode 10 without me actually pressing the record button.
It was well done, Ruth. We need the practice.
So now we're going to have a whole new discussion. Today we are talking about maintaining a heightened level of awareness. And I guess with most things, there are two ways you can go. There can be a good heightened level of awareness and a not so great one. Do you want to explain a little bit more, Graham?
Yeah, I guess, Ruth, the whole mindfulness process is having a heightened level of awareness. An awareness of what we're thinking, how we're thinking, the environment around us, and the values that define us. And sort of when that's all lined up, our lives are full and meaningful. And unfortunately, sometimes that heightened level of awareness is not good. Then it can be quite debilitating. And just share a story with you just in relation to that. I did an RTT session with a young fellow that his heightened level of awareness was fear of germs. And when I say debilitating, it really was debilitating. He was, due to a couple of things that become apparent as part of the RTT process, but there's certainly the COVID and all those
well, we were
elements.
all in a heightened level of awareness there, but it sounds as though...
Yeah, it took his heightened level of awareness of germs to another dimension, to a point where he wasn't able, he had to get his someone to fill his car up, and he would, even to open the door of his car, he had to wipe that, and he continually washed his hands, and it sort of impacted on every aspect of his life, his relationships and his work. His work gradually become less and less as he struggled to go out
and live a normal life.
Yeah, and it was incredibly sad. And one of the processes we use is the part of the RTT process is role, function, purpose, and we went through the role, the function, the purpose of this. His heightened awareness of these germs was he didn't want to die, and
so the role of the situation was
he didn't want it. He didn't want to die. He didn't want he didn't want the germs to kill him. And I said, well, why do you want to die? And he said, because, well, I want to live. I want to go to Japan. I want a girlfriend. And I said, well, that was a no-brainer. Then he'd answered his own question, and so we just flipped that to instead of a heightened awareness of the germs, to a heightened awareness of what he wanted out of life.
Yes.
It was pretty much instantaneous, because prior to that, if I was to shake his hand, he'd have to go and wash his hand. And when we finished that session, it was pretty amazing. I purposely put my hand out and he shook it. And his grandmother was there actually, and I said to her afterwards, I said, did he wash his hand? And she said, no, he didn't, Graham.
Oh.
So that was pretty amazing, but they just flipped that. That was, that heightened level of awareness to what he wanted, to what he wanted out of life, and he's powered on. Like you say, pretty amazing. He's powered on from there.
So, it's coming at it from the right angle, focusing on what you want as opposed to focusing on what you don't want.
Yeah. was funny when you reflect on that. It was, the fear of the germs was he was afraid of dying because he wanted to live. And so so just shift that focus from that, heightened the level of awareness of flipped it over, so that he still has a heightened level of awareness, but of what he wants, what he's living for, not what he wanted was trying to save him.
Is amazing what programming goes on, and that level of it's whatever we see or experience in our younger years that we then accept as truth or as life, and what that can do to you down the track is just incredible.
No, it is, and sometimes, well, more often than not, it's quite debilitating. Sort of people have. I think I mentioned on the previous podcast about frogs and those phobias. To say that's a heightened level, and it's amazing when if you've got a phobia about something, you continually run into it. You see the spider all the time.
Yes.
You see the frog all the time, or whatever it is. You have this phobia about, and it's always there because the reason that it's there is because you have this heightened awareness and you're constantly looking for them.
Speaking of spiders, I can remember I was in Melbourne traffic and I put my visor down and there was this hugest huntsman. And I had to overcome, I was in a very heightened level of, I'm not sure what, but I had a choice between freaking out in Melbourne traffic and possibly I was just going to jump out of the car and run and leave my car in the middle. But I had to actually keep it together and go, I'm going to slowly open the door and then I'm going to grab something and flick him out. So I was actually able to maintain that, but I didn't think initially that I thought my little lizard brain was just going to run. It's like fight or flight. I'm going flight, but yes.
Yeah.
So you can overcome it.
Yeah, of course you can. And once you're aware of it, to say it, and a lot of those phobias and those sorts of things, but it is amazing how, what we manifest what we think about, So if you're going to manifest, if you've got phobias and those sorts of things, you tend to manifest those.
Yeah.
And
I think with that one, so clearly I have a fear of large, hairy spiders, but I also have a fear of being in people's way or causing them a problem. And I think it was the two fears between themselves that went, is the fear of the spider worse than the fear of causing other people inconvenience or trouble? And clearly the inconvenience or trouble won.
Yeah. And that's that was a good result for you.
Yes, it was.
Probably saved you a few bob too, disappearing out of your car and down the street, and sort of causing a traffic jam wouldn't have been a good result.
No, probably not. And I guess when I look at it, then that fear of inconveniencing people or fear of that kind of thing, that went on for years. Yeah. Before I kind of looked at that. So, but you don't realise you're not looking, you're not aware of it until it kind of triggers. Yeah. So as you say, maintaining that heightened level of awareness of the way you feel before you step out the door in the morning.
Yeah. And that's exactly right, Ruth. And you just hit the nail on the head. You have a heightened awareness of inconveniencing people and that sort of stuff. So you tend not to go down that path, but
it keeps showing up. Keeps showing.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. So in that instance, you sort of probably reached a point in your life you say, well, I'm not doing it intentionally, so that's the way I am. So it's the same old. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So
yeah, but you get to a point where it becomes so painful that you're like, no. Now it's painful enough for me to want to do something about it.
Yeah, no, and that's the case with this young fellow with the germs. To say it, and once he flipped that, one of the things he wanted to do was to visit Japan. That's been on his hit list for a long time, and I remember saying to him, how are you going to get on in Japan? Well, they jam all those people. They actually push people into the trains on those subways. I said, how are you going to escape those germs? so I think I actually put that in the recording as to why he needed to change, and because it was important to him, and
yes.
It's what we focus on that makes a difference, and if we're focusing on what we want and where we want to be and all those sorts of things, and we have that heightened awareness of those elements of our lives, where we want to be, how we want to live our lives, and mindfulness is about here and now, but by the same token, it's it's about working towards where you want to be, and you don't instantly finish up where you want to be with a click of your fingers. Usually it's a journey, but if you're at the end destination, then each day is a step in that direction.
And if you've got that awareness of my yesterday doesn't have to be my tomorrow, then that can make a huge difference to go, I can make a change. I have a level of awareness that says, hey, I know I can change this. I'm in control of this. It doesn't have to be this way.
No, that's exactly right. And like you say, we all have things that we want in our lives, and if we're aware of those things, and then we have a heightened awareness of where we want to be, then the journey that we take each day is in that direction, and that heightened level of awareness of when we get off the track or get off that path, bring yourself back to where you need to be. Because of that heightened level of awareness.
So if there is something that you want to change, I mean, it may happen overnight, but it would definitely happen within 30 days if you wanted to make the change. And so if you would like to have a chat to Graham about it, just to check it out, you can always have a chat to him online via Zoom. You just book in for a 30-minute session, easy peasy, which is on kissbusiness.com.au, and look at what is RTT. And the other thing you can do is, before you step out of the door each morning and before you go out into the outside world, is do a mindfulness meditation. And Graham has a couple of meditations on YouTube, but there is one there for mindfulness before you step out the door in the morning, and you can find that on YouTube under Graham Cotter, the Augathella Fella. And so that brings us to the end of episode 10. Please, Graham, where in the Schitt's Creek area are we going in number 11?
Well, we've drifted down the creek.
Yep.
Put the paddle up and sort of drifted down into a place where we're looking for a more positive mindset.
That sounds pretty good to me. Okay, this has been You Wouldn't Be Dead for Quids. Graham, I will catch you next time.
Catch you then.